Morning guys, off to shoot a bit of woodland today in a place I've wanted to shoot woodland for years. Ooh, hat and gloves time again. Love this time of year. So I'm in this rather incredible woodland, and I mean rather incredible woodland. It's a place called Invergarry or Glengarry. It's located between Fort William and, well, basically it's on the way up to the Isle of Skye. I'm sure you're more than capable of Googling Invergarry and Glengarry. But every time I head towards the Isle of Skye, I always drive past this woodland, especially this time of the year. And I have kept promising myself in the past, over and over again, to stop and have a walk around, take time out and just photograph this rather incredible place. So in this video, all I'm going to do is, armed with you guys on my shoulder, I'm going to walk around and just see if there's anything that takes my fancy. And if there is, I'm going to capture it and hopefully talk you guys through some of those shots. I mean, seriously, if anything catches your eye. I mean, just look at the place. Right, so while I'm walking around the woods, I won't take any walking shots, but what I will do is I'll use my main camera in hand to film some bits and pieces that I either like or I think has a lot of potential for a woodland shot. I'm not going to stop and take the pictures of everything I think is quite nice, otherwise it's going to be a very long day, as you could probably tell just by looking around. But I'll put a little tick in the corner if I think that particular scene has a lot of scope to become a woodland image. Now, I know attention spans are short these days, but just hang in there. The first few images are nothing special, but trust me, they get a lot better. Stop number one. And some of you guys might find this a little bit unusual. I've literally come about 20 paces away from the van. And as I come up and around the bend, I just look back at what could best be described as a cacophony of autumnal colours. The greens, the yellows, the burning oranges. To me, it's just a real mishmash of autumnal colours, but I love it. It's darkening it down just a little bit. There. But that there is just a lovely image, framed by these two trees right and left, and you've just got everything going on in there. It's a really unusual shot, as in the woodland what you tend to do is try and make sense of the chaos, try and make order of the chaos. But sometimes a simple frame complemented by a bunch of wonderful shapes, patterns and colours will more than suffice. Before I moved away, I thought I would just have a look around at this same area just to see if there are any other nice shapes and patterns, and just moving my camera slightly more to the right of where I was just shooting, I've come up with another rather interesting frame. That frame there, if you look at that frame there, we've got, again, it's just, there's no order in that picture whatsoever. I can just envisage maybe a 3x2 as it is now, but possibly a 16x9, maybe even a slightly tighter letterbox feel to that image. But it's just the colours and the textures, and the lighting at the moment is just wonderful. There's no mist or anything in the air that you normally associate with woodland photography, but that there is just gorgeous. Again, I've quite literally come about 10 paces, and just looking back at these autumnal colours, I've just seen a nice shape that I quite like actually. It's a little bit different from the norm. It's not a sort of picture that you would maybe think of or associate with woodland photography, but I quite like it, and I'm out to have some fun today. Just off the back of 2 workshops back to back. So today I just want to relax and have some fun, and you should think about doing that as well, instead of getting all that up and trying to create that perfect award-winning shot every time. I just like this. Beautiful frame, tree on the right, tree on the left, and a tree dead center. I'm going to fine tune this in a second, but I just love everything about that image. It's just again, the colors. I'm not going to bang on about it again and again and again. I'm really not. But I just like that. And again, I just want to have some fun. I'm going to fine tune it. I'm going to move down ever so slightly, if I can, because what I want to try and do is keep that same shape, that same pattern, but I'm going to see if I can blend those 2 trees in the middle into one, just by moving slightly further down to the left. Let's have a look. It might go all awry, but just check it out. I really like that. Honestly, I really like that. I will endeavour to take what you'd probably consider as a more traditional style of woodland photography in this video, but for now, while I'm wandering around, enjoying this wonderful morning, why not capture images that look like that? Now at the moment I'm shooting directly into the sun, but I want to harness that sunlight by A, avoiding the sun and the sky altogether, but B, using that gorgeous light to backlight this particular frame that I'm loving here. Basically what I'm looking at are these 2 on the edges framing up this tree here. Now I'm going to change my composition ever so slightly because I'm going to fine tune this. I don't like the fact that that tree is in the center, so I'm just going to move my body slightly more to the right to push that tree slightly more to the left. Bear with me 1 second. Might be a bit bumpy for you guys. Let's see if that's enough. The next thing I want to do is just raise my tripod ever so slightly so that I can hopefully tilt the camera down. I don't want to tilt the camera down to make it obvious that I'm trying to hide the sunlight in the background. I still want to try and maintain that composition because that's quite nice. And also for this as a frame, I'm going to opt for possibly a 16:9, maybe even a tighter crop, just so that I can add a line top and bottom. And then I'm going to play around with the exposure. And the reason why I say that is because I'm firing directly into the sun. If I reduce the light, as you can see here, then you'll really make this plant here pronounced in the frame. But on the other hand, if you brighten the image up altogether, then you'll render the colours nice pastel autumnal colours. You've probably noticed that today I prefer my shots bright, vibrant and full of colour. But I'd be interested to find out what your preference is. Just let me know in the comments. This tree's caught my eye. I really like the tree, and rather unusually I'm going to take this at probably a 3x2 portrait orientation shot, just so that I could fill this frame with that gorgeous backlit yellow leaved tree. That looks rather special, doesn't it? Again, I can just really push the light and make it nice and pastel-y, or I could just darken it right down just to emphasize the trunk and the branches and make it a lot more contrasty. You could just see a little bit of sky popping through, but I don't think that's anything to worry about. So let's have a look. I definitely think the brighter, more pastel-y colour image is my favourite. But as always, like a good Boy Scout, I'll grab both and decide later. So far so good, but as I push further into the woods, that's when the magic really starts to happen. Oh, that is gorgeous. That is so nice. Let me put you guys in camera once again, because I'm going to cheat ever so slightly. Now, I'm here to photograph woodland and not water effects, but I think I can get away with both here. I'm not sure if it's then just going to be classified as a landscape shot or woodland. Probably just a landscape shot, to be fair, but I can't walk by and not photograph that. These gorgeous leaves here have a background that's quite dark, so it's really making them pop. And this waterfall just here, I'm just going to frame that up just as is and grab a shot, maybe half a second to a second, just to add a bit of movement in that water. Oh, I can't walk past that. I just can't. Let me give you a little bit of advice when you shoot your woodland photography. If you're comfortable using the screen on the back of your camera, use the screen on the back of your camera, change lenses and have some fun. I mean, I'm just looking down a path where I'm walking, and it just looks ordinary, but there's an awful lot of potential here. Let me give you a couple of examples. So you could grab a shot like that. Again, my thought process for that is something like a 16:9, but I quite like that. Even though the path goes straight off down the centre, you've got that lovely hole down there, which I think is quite intriguing and quite interesting. But what you could do here as well is opt for a shallow depth of field and focus as far as the eye can see. So that way, pretty much everything is not quite sharp in the frame, so it'll force the viewer to take that journey with you all the way down the path, which I think is quite nice. And I like that. I'm going to grab that shot as well, but also have some fun and experiment. For instance, I'm just going to utilize this area here as a point of interest. I could possibly zoom in and maybe take a rather intriguing shot like that. Again, I'm going to pop a bit of focus as far as the eye can see all the way down there. I mean, it's almost looking down a rabbit warren. And do you know what? I just think it looks nice. I might well get back and think, oh, it's not as good as maybe it could have been, or not as good as maybe some of the other shots I've taken. But sometimes you just got to experiment, have fun. I mean, what a glorious day. Why wouldn't you? Just seen something that I think looks quite special. I thought it may have looked good, but it wasn't until I saw it on the back of my camera did I actually believe it would be any good? Now, I'm going to show you what I mean. Now, I've got it lined up in the background, but I'm just going to put my iPhone on and I'm going to walk around and look with my iPhone exactly how I did a second ago. And before I show you what I could see here, I'm wondering how many people would actually pick up on it. So I'm just walking down this path, having a good old nosy, a good old look around. And across here, I spotted something I thought looked really good. Again, I like looking at frames. So I liked that shot there, something along those lines. And I thought that had a bit of potential. Some nice frame in there, some nice light, some nice side light. A kick across to the right, now we've got backlighting. So I'm thinking there's a lot of potential there as well. But then I turned around and I saw all of these birch trees. And I thought, they look nice. There has to be potential there. Now, what you're normally led to believe is that the idea of woodland photography, or the reason why some people find woodland photography so difficult, is because what you're trying to do, or what most people try to do, is to create calm in the mayhem. But when I fired that scene up there in the back of my camera, I saw something that I thought looked pretty special. And it's the opposite of the calm. But when I throw you guys in camera, something quite magical happens. There. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. It's almost like a vignette of colour. And yet look at the chaos. There's no structure to that picture whatsoever. But that to me just typifies woodland photography. Look at these burning embers down here, topped off by the yellow of the leaves from the birch tree. And we have quite literally, and I'm not one for naming pictures, but I would call that a vignette of colour. Oh, got a bit of a sweat on now. What a fantastic morning. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode of me aimlessly walking around an incredible looking woodland, just photographing anything and everything that caught my eye. By the way, if you guys would like me to make an in-depth or a how-to guide on how to take pictures in the woodland, maybe if you're struggling with woodland photography, then let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you happen to have seen a composition that I may have missed, or maybe you've preferred one of the compositions that I showed you as part of my B-roll, let me know that in the comment section down below as well. All that's left me to say is, as always, thanks a lot for watching, and of course, thanks for supporting the channel. Till the next time, guys. Cheers.